Hello everyone, welcome back to the Crypto Weekly Analysis Volume 13. Again, we're going to be looking at, again, the week ahead, and we're also going to compare our analysis as well. So pretty much this week has been volatile already through this week. On Monday, we've seen some of our levels being broken, so good time to kind of pretty much update the charts. Should have done this yesterday, but completely ran out of time, so I have to apologize. But anyway, without further ado, guys, we'll start off with Bitcoin. So what we're seeing right now is still this pressure up into the market. So I think I was kind of expecting this still. I pretty much am still bearish on this, even though we're still progressively making our way up. For me personally, I do think that we still could have a drop to the downside, and I'm not really looking for any entries now for any buying opportunities, because I believe we probably, if this does fling above the new high, we probably have missed the best opportunity to buy. So for now, even though this is now pretty much retracing above the 50% fib, in my opinion, it's not really best to look for any buying opportunities, because for now, anything right above that 50% fib, it has that ability to come lower, and it could, if it does drop, it's going to put us in a massive drawdown. So for me, I'm not really interested in Bitcoin right now. What we could expect is for price to probably push a little higher, and then drop off, which is what I want to see happen. But again, we can't put our own biases on the market. We have to kind of like read what the market is doing. So if we still manage to get this drop off in price, and we start to see price rally up and then push up a little higher, and then completely break down, even into 40k region or 30k region, it will be quite interesting, because then this bias of the sell could be coming to fruition, and we could end up seeing the 28k barrier being broken. But anyway, as the opposing scenario, in which the event where price manages to continue to push higher, what I suggest we do is pretty much wait for price to break this high, because it will be very important to see how strong it does break. Because one option is we start to reject this, and if we do, we should be able to see some kind of strong rejection, but I don't really want to predict that just yet. The other scenario is we just completely skyrocket and we blast through the 60 to 70k barrier, and yeah, in my opinion, we just have to kind of sit on the sidelines if that does happen, because obviously we don't really want to buy without any necessary points in the market, if that makes sense. So for me, I will be waiting for some sort of retest before we could end up pushing higher. So that's what I'm going to do if we do get a bull scenario and we get price to push above the 65k region. But anyway, this is probably going to take a while for this move to even happen, so we don't really have to worry about this yet. So this is why I'm telling you this now, just so to eliminate any FOMO that you may have, because I know personally I would have if someone didn't tell me about a buying option. So for me, if I am going to look for a buy, it has to break this opportunity. It has to break this high here in order for us to find an opportunity to find a retracement and a buy, and then we can watch for that price to push up. But for now, as long as price stays below this high of the market, I'm still going to wait for price to enter this level, the 28k region, and if so, that's when we can look for those buying opportunities. But for now, we're pretty much on the fence, and pretty much I'm just going to leave this, let it do its thing. So let's move on to now some other pairs, and let's take a perspective from that. So let's take a look at Ripple. So Ripple, again, I'm still looking for price to switch over here. I think we did have some divergence forming from last week, so that's good to see. What I think could happen is we could have one more push up higher, and be interesting to see what happens. But ultimately, again, we're trying to wait for price to push lower, and once we do, we're trying to again hedge our way into the 50 cents region, and that's personally where I think we could see price, ultimately push into. But anyway, as the current high at $2 here, if we, in the event where price does break higher, say like with Bitcoin, because we are seeing some strength here, in the event where price does break this high, again, it really just depends what's going to happen here, because what we could expect is two scenarios. We'll either get price to crash down, or we'll get a strong push up. And if so, if we get that strong push, we need to wait for some sort of retest before we consider buying again. So for me, like I said, I'm not really too bothered if we do miss this low. I'm already in particular with Ripple, but I'm not going to take any rushed buy opportunities just because we've broken this high. Okay, it needs to be at a good price and a cheap price in order for me to be entertained or even bothered buying. But yeah, so two scenarios again, really. The sell opportunities, which is where I currently stand. So I want price to drop into the 50 cents region, and then we can hopefully look for a buy. But in the case we break that $2 barrier, it really just depends what's going to happen. And again, this will happen if price really does break the $2 barrier with strength. And then if we, on the opposing side, if we get some sort of rejection or a spike, we could see price come back into this 50 cents region. So again, it really just depends what's going to happen with Bitcoin, obviously, and how it affects the other ones. So let's take a look at Cardano, which has actually broken our level. So with that being said, as we saw in the market that price is pretty much completely rallied. Again, we was expecting price to come into the $1 region. Now, do I think that this could happen? Do I think price could break down to this level? Yeah, so I think that now that we've hit that $3 region, which we got marked out, again, we're just waiting for price to essentially see if it can turn around to the downside. So there may be more pressure towards the upside, but ultimately I think that we could still drop down. So I'm not really too keen on looking at any buying opportunities just yet. So again, it really depends where price wants to go, but I think ideally we could see price take out the $1 range again. So I'm not looking for any buys opportunities right yet. So this is nicely progressing up higher. If you are trading this, again, you could be looking at selling opportunities. Again, if you do trade and scalp crypto, I personally don't, but again, it is the option that I would be looking for sells into the $1 range. And yeah, that's pretty much where I stand for Cardano. So quite a different approach from the opposing weeks and the other pairs, but pretty much that's what I've got so far in my notes. Litecoin, again, I'm pretty happy with how price is performing. Nothing too bullish here. We're still seeing price moving sideways. So I'm just going to pretty much stick with this analysis and bias and just move it along. Let's move on to now. So yeah, just to remind you guys what I'm saying is pretty much wanting price to break the 3K region and pretty much see if we can push up higher. But yeah, we'll see what happens with this one. So nothing really for that. Ethereum. So yeah, this one has pretty much continued to push up higher and higher. Again, this one has been quite tricky, but again, I'm putting two scenarios on for this one actually, because as this week already we've been pushing higher. So the first scenario that I really want to look into is the sell opportunity. So I still think that price could drop lower. So I'm not looking for any buying opportunities now. And the reason for this is because I think that price could drop to 1,700, okay, and into this range where this red zone is, even into the 1K. But in the event where we start to see price push up higher, again, what we could expect is price to break this barrier here. But then it really depends. Are we going to see strength here, or are we going to if we do see strength, we just have to wait for a retest and continuation. But most likely what I'll be looking for is I think that this could happen in the sense where price makes a spike towards the upside and then it starts to reject and then breaks low. So again, I'm quite bearish on this still. even if price does make its way towards the upside. So again, pretty much holding the same analysis as I believe Cardano. So again, the second scenario that we've got is if price really does hold strength above this 4.5k barrier. If we get strength above this and we're capable of looking at a retest, then we can potentially look at buys. But the second thing that I'll be looking for, the third thing, sorry, I'll be waiting for is to see that if there is some sort of manipulation or spike or where price goes up and then quickly goes down, I think that will be a good opportunity to look at some sells if you do, again, scalp cryptos. But again, for me, I personally don't. So I think that, you know, we're still waiting for our long-term buys. So let's put it that way. It's going to be a long time. It's going to be a longer time if price does break this barrier. But if we're lucky, we could get price to break lower. And in that case, we could be looking at some good buying opportunities. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much where we stand for that pair. Let's take a look at Dogecoin. So yeah, for this, let me check my notes real quickly. So for this, yeah, I'm not really too keen on looking at any buying opportunities still. I think what we spoke about here was the potential sell-off opportunity whilst potentially rejecting this level. Again, what we could see end up happening though is price just completely rallying up. So if we start to see price break the 55 cents range, I think we could expect a big bull run, and it really just depends how strong this is. But again, for now, I'm still potentially waiting for some sell-off opportunities. So again, I'm just sitting on the sidelines here, sitting back. But again, if we start to see price continue to push up higher and higher, my first judgment will be at the 50 cents and the 55 cents range to see if we can see strength. And if we do, I think what we next would expect is to see if price can break this the 75 cents barrier. And if that does happen, we could be expecting one or two things again. So either we'll have to wait for a retest, which will be a lot deeper, or the second thing is we'll either see price reject sharply and we'll end up coming down to fill the 10 cents range again. So again, not really too bothered what exactly happens, but we're just taking we're just being present with the market and just pretty much going around the market where we want to. I'm not trying to jump into the market without any reason really. So for now, I'm still adamant that, you know, price can make its way to the downside. And yeah, in the case where we start to see price push up higher and break the highs, again, I'll still be very cautious for looking at a buy. So just be careful with that, with the crypto pairs. Again, there is a lot of new bull runs coming along and new little ones just to entice you. So just be careful about that, and don't rush in too much because there's always opportunities, like I always say. But anyway, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, I do appreciate your time for watching and listening. If you have any other questions, feel free to let me know in the comment section below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So thank you very much for listening, guys, and we'll see you all in our next videos.